Hello everybody, Travis here for Tpull's Corner. I have a new deck I am playtesting. The playtesting has not been going well, but I'm going to keep on trying for now at least. It's called Battlefield Activities. It's with the Battlefield Butcher. I've used this card once before. Millennium Calendar already. You know, Millennium Calendar has been a very popular kind of thing. Artifact for my artifact. They've been going up against me for quite a while now. None of them have been successful, but there is a combo using all-in-one. Do we make them use their stuff? Yeah, let's get rid of their land here, because they only need one more to turn that into a creature. We'll go get a forest. And if they get out their enchantment, we should be able to just get rid of this. They might have 3 or 4 copies in the deck. Alright, just slow roll this. Counters on everything. They like the counters. Now if they have all will be one. Okay, they don't. Oh, they're gonna look at my hand. That is gross. I did not expect that. Out of everything they were gonna do, I didn't expect them to do that. Yeah. Okay, how do we do this? This is the same mana value, right? And I don't have enough to do March of Wretched Sorrow, so I have just enough to do nothing, right? We can play... No, we have to cast this for this without the kicker to get rid of the calendar. And that's all we do. Ours, which is fine. That was kind of a backup plan to my main plan. They just have another calendar ready in the wings. We'll block that. Still not getting land. We'll get rid of Adeline, I guess. That way we don't have increasing numbers of those coming at us. The problem is they're going to get that enchantment. You didn't want to discard that and get some spirit creature tokens.
I've learned much during my travels. Let your blade do the talking.
Okay. The greatest mana is going to be the Planeswalker. So if we get rid of the Planeswalker now,
See you later.
that'll give us some life and we'll finally be able to use Blot Out. On the Faithbound Judge. Uh-oh. Now we're dead. Okay, now we're gonna be dead because they can double those. They add one counter, that's gonna be 1 point of damage already. Didn't get what I needed. So they exile the Faithbound Judge. Then they're gonna tap that. That's gonna go to at least 16. I mean, I can put this out, but I probably should have cycled it to try and get something else. No, Arena wanted to demonstrate this combo. They untap, 5 counters go on the calendar. Now, 20 points. Boom. That's the first time Millennium Calendar has won against me. And we had an answer for it, and I have had multiple copies of Terra Sunder, but when Arena wants you to lose, Arena just takes whatever solution you had and says, oh, fine, here's the same thread all over again. Good luck beating it another time. That's kind of been how the whole night's been going for me, actually. I've been on the defensive the entire time. They're threatened by the Enigma Jewel over everything. Interesting. I've got 4 colors in the deck. And just kind of auto-queued into another battle instead of going into the explanation of the deck tech. I must be out of focus tonight. Okay. Pass there. Can't really stop that, right? They have Menace. We get to see her hand again. Excuse me. Nope, they're just dismantling us. They've got battlefield presence. They can hit us. We don't have the right color lands to do any of the things that we've got. That's a lot of mana to spend on a 1/1. Okay, for the second, they can't attack. What is that, a 2 and a 2? Okay. I'm gonna get all my stuff back if you don't mind. They put it down even though they know I have the blast zone? Why would you do that? That's strange to me. Okay, their 3 creatures go. I get my copy at the end back. And then we get to take out the battle. Cactus Sea Tyrant of Segovia. End turn. Untap up to 4 target creatures. Now, Convoke still doesn't help me if I don't have the right color mana. So, 2 of the spells in my hand are still dead spells. And what do you go get? It's usually Shieldred? Or Phyrexian Obliterator, okay. What are the others? Still not getting what I need. Thank you for nothing, Arena. There's another Shieldred. I could do another Blast Song, but let's go get a Swamp. Swampy, swampy. Alright. Can we survive? Yet another. Okay. Let's go ahead and sacrifice one of the 3/3s. Look at this. Mythic rare, mythic rare, mythic rare. We're not blocking it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What do we need here? Only if opponent has 8 or more. Dang it. 8 or more. I need to do 5. Second black mana. No attacks. No. They have the Raven Man and a discard spell ready after all of their mythic rares. That is messed up. Obliterator goes away. I guess we draw. Butcher comes down. No attacks. Now. Never mind.
Something suspicious is going on. And for once, it's not my fault.
No, they're gonna make me sacrifice a creature?
Off you go.
Why would you do that? I've got a card for you to discard. Can they still... They could have made me discard the card right there. I think they misplayed. You get exile.
Sorry, I'm not interested in dying today.
Can I pay for that? We can pay for that. Go get the mountain. We now have all 4 colors represented. It's just a splash of red, that's all we need. They have another one. They just have another one. Auto pay. And now we start attacking. Bless up. How many men are you? 2? Is that enough mythic rares yet? Okay, finally got him down to 20. You don't have any activated abilities in your stuff, do you? Wait, we have Raven Man. How many are you? 4? One, 3, and 3 versus 4. Yes. How many can I put on? 1, 2. I can't put on enough. All right, we'll do it anyway. 1, 2, 3. I can put on enough for next turn. Should have probably attacked with the fairy. We lose nothing by attacking with the obliterator. We do not block. That's kind of cool. And we save this. That is an instant, right? We save that for when they're gonna do stuff. Like now you're gonna activate the Raven Man, right? Lose a creature, please. And we get to activate our abilities finally. That's a swamp. Let's trample and haste until end of turn. I think we can keep that in our hip pocket. So we just need them not to get like a third Phyrexian Obliterator out. Okay, they can craft that with 2 creatures. That does no good at all. But we can activate these. For 3 apiece instead of 5 apiece. Okay, 3... If we activated that, we would lose the fairy. I don't want to do that. This is basically the idea behind the deck. This normally costs 5. I think they killed the wrong one. my upkeep. Kill them before I even draw. Ta-da! Alright, now I'll go in and show you how the deck works. I'm kidding. You just saw how the deck works. I'm still going to go in and do the deck tech. Alright, that reminds me, there is a post up, a new pull for the new month to close out the year. It's on the community page. Go check out the post. And if you haven't answered it already, it asks the question of you, the viewing audience, if you want to see the opening this way normally, or if you want the deck tech first. We're going to go and do the deck tech now. Well, my tradition has been for most of this past year has been to go open with a battle and then go in after you've seen it in action a little bit and explain all the intricacies of the deck. However, I have received comments asking for the deck tech first, so I'm definitely willing to let democracy reign. So the poll is there. You know, I'm going to keep it up for the month of December, and then when the new year comes, if we have the majority of you voting to change and want to do the deck tech first, we'll do that. But for now, I'm going to stick with my habit, which is to do a battle or two first. It's usually one battle, but I got distracted. I apologize. So I used Battlefield Butcher in a previous deck, and I was concentrating mostly on the text of the card. Okay, it costs 5 to activate. Each opponent loses 2 life. That's nice, but you have to tap the creature. So I was looking for ways to untap and stuff like that, but the ability costs 1 less to activate for each creature card in your graveyard. So I got out disposable creatures, creatures that I could sacrifice myself, creatures that I didn't mind if the enemy killed them, that kind of thing. All with the aim of hoping to get a Butcher on the field and have 5 creatures in the graveyard, so that I could just tap these suckers and have the opponent lose 2 life for free, basically. And it worked to a certain degree, but the enemy was really keen to the presence of the Battlefield Butcher, and you saw that they weren't here. They kind of removed the other creatures instead of the Battlefield Butcher here. This is a different configuration. Instead of worrying about having enough creatures, I'm just looking at the activation cost itself and trying to get that down. So I don't have as many creatures as you might expect. I have 16 creatures. I've got 61 cards, so the extra card is a land card. I've got a splash of red just for Agatha the Vile Cauldron. Activated abilities of creatures you control cost X less to activate, where X is the Agatha of Vile Cauldron's power. This effect can't reduce the mana in that cost to less than 1, but that's fine. I also have, to help it out, the Ozolith, the Shattered Spire, to give counters. So if I add a counter to Agatha of the Vile Cauldron, it's going to add a second one, so she's going to become a 3/3. So automatically, without having to spend any mana anywhere else, if I have Agatha out with a Battlefield Butcher, automatically it only costs 2 now to activate this ability. So 2 mana to have the opponent lose 2 life every single turn. It's a good deal. In the meantime, we have Agatha the Vile Cauldron, and we have Agatha's Soul Cauldron. These are related. You may spend mana as though it were mana of any color to activate abilities of creatures you control. So if I get her Cauldron out, then I don't need to worry about if I have the red or green to activate this. If they kill Agatha, and I can tap this to exile her from the graveyard, get a +1/+1 counter on target creature. Any creature with a +1 counter now has this ability for 6. Other creatures you control get +1/+1 and gain trample and haste until end of turn. In the meantime, with the Ozolith, I don't have to wait to exile a creature card to give creatures +1 counters. So if Agatha's the only creature I have exiled under Agatha's Soul Cauldron, I don't have to exile more creatures from the graveyard if I like the idea of having those creatures in the graveyard further decrease the cost, the activation cost of the Battlefield Butcher. I can just put counters on them with the Ozolith instead, and they will automatically gain this ability through the Soul Cauldron. It can be a little complicated, I admit. To help me out, I've got 3 Omen Hawkers. You can tap, they get 2 mana, 1 colorless and 1 blue. You can spend the mana only to activate abilities. We've got a Sleep Cursed Fairy, enters the battlefield tapped with 3 sun counters on it. You can untap the fairy for 2. So if we put that under the cauldron, we could untap the Butcher. We give the Butcher a +1 counter. We could, if we have enough mana, We could use the Fairy under the Soul Cauldron to untap the Butcher and tap the same Butcher multiple times to make the opponent lose 2 life if it's cheap enough, if we have enough energy. The Enigma Jewel is kind of just an extra funsy card. I haven't been able to use it yet. The opponents are scared of it. Usually if I do get it out, if they can, they remove this first. If it's a part of a discard spell, they choose to get rid of this. I don't have enough experience with it to say, I mean, you have to craft it for 9 mana. It's going to take a while for me to get to use it. The matches haven't lasted long enough for me to get to the point where I can use that. Removal, I've got March of Wretched Sorrow. Let's see, let's put these all in a column real quick. I've got one of those to give me some life gain. I've got 4 Terra Sunders. Easy to take out artifacts and enchantments whenever I'm doing green and blue. This is my utility removal card. You can kick it for an extra 2 mana, one of which has to be black, and then you can exile any target non-land permanent, not just an artifact or enchantment. We've got 2 Blotouts. This is Aftermath card. Target opponent exiles a creature or planeswalker they control with the greatest mana value among all the creatures and planeswalkers they control. In case they come up with a bunch of like 1/1s or mono red aggro or 2/2 flyers from blue, that kind of thing. I don't have a white source normally, so just looking to use it to clear out the small creatures. I've got 1 Bleed Dry for big creatures to do a -13/-13, and that exiles them as well. 1 Overwhelming Response. It also does exile for target creature or planeswalker, and 1 copy of the End that exiles a creature or planeswalker, but you also get to search throughout everything they have and exile any copies of it. So I only have 1 copy of that right now. When I do have 4 copies, I'm going to pair that up with Stone Brain and make a deck, and that'll be fun. Okay, so that's the removal, more or less. What else do we have? We have 1 Zephyr Winder. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, you untap up to 1 target creature. Again, if this is cheap enough and we can activate it, that's the one we want to untap. We've got Invasion of Segovia. Get 2 1/1 black Kraken creature tokens with trample. If we can convert it, the non-creature spells you cast have Convoke, and then the beginning of your end step, you untap up to 4 target creatures. So again, we can use this, untap it. That'd be fun. Fight Rigging. This gives us a +1 counter every turn, and then we have the Hideaway ability, of course. We're using Tyvar Jubilant Brawler because we can activate abilities of creatures you control as though those creatures had taste. So if we have a nice battle state build up and we're protecting Tyvar and we bring down a Battlefield Butcher, we can have him activate the ability right away. In the meantime, the +1 there, we untap up to 1 target creature, so we could use this twice in 1 turn if we're set up properly. We have Futurist Operative. It's a 3/4. When it's tapped, it becomes a human citizen with base power and toughness, 1/1, and can't be blocked. This is another one where we can untap it. So if it dies, like the Sleep Cursed Fairy, maybe we exile it with Agatha's Soul Cauldron, and we can give that ability to the Battlefield Butcher to just pay mana and untap it. So we only have 1 of those in the deck because I had a limit on cards. I also have 4 Blossoming Tortoise. They have activated abilities of land you control, costs 1 less to activate, but it's a 3/3. When it enters the battlefield or attacks, you mill 3 cards, then return a land card from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped, and land creatures you control get +1/+1. So this is kind of a nice way for me to get more land, because I do need a lot more land. And I've got 1 copy of Solar Windgrace for more land shenanigans. When it enters the battlefield or attack, you can put a land card from a graveyard. This includes your opponent's graveyard onto the battlefield tapped into control, and this is where the Splash of Red can come in handy as well. I can discard a land card to draw a card, I can discard a land card to gain 3 life, or I can discard a land card to gain Indestructible until end of turn. So that's kind of fun. Finally, we have Virtue of Knowledge. For just 2, we can cast it as an instant, Vantress Visions, copy target activated or triggered ability you control. So, you know, if we're making them lose 2 life, maybe we do it again and make them lose 2 life. Who knows? But if a permanent entering the battlefield causes a triggered ability of a permanent you control to trigger, that ability triggers an additional time. So, I don't know. I mean, we can mill twice with Blossoming Tortoise. Is that going to be good for us, or is that going to mill us out? We shall see. Out of the lands, I've got 1 Blast Zone for additional removal, 2 Filtered Runes for their specialty lands, and then some of the Sacred lands from Streets of New Capenna. that'll come in really handy with things like the Blossoming Tortoise, where we can bring them back, or Soul of Windgrace, which can also bring them back. Things like Disenchantment or Fight Rigging, if we have those out, we can sacrifice Roadside Reliquary. You draw a card if you control an artifact, and draw a card if you control an enchantment. So if we have things like Agatha's Soul Cauldron or Enigma Jewel out as well, we could draw 2 cards if we have 1 enchantment and 1 artifact. We can draw 2 cards with that, and we have a chance to bring that card back from the graveyard. So a couple of ideas in there: reducing the activation abilities and bringing our lands back from the graveyard. See if that provides us enough of an advantage. The playtesting did not go well. They put me up against a Training Grounds deck with Agatha's Soul Cauldron. I got rid of 2 of their Soul Cauldrons. They just brought out a 3rd one. It was disgusting. It was like, Travis, you wanted to have an activation ability reduction deck. You're using the wrong cards. Let me show you the cards to use. Not just 1 copy of Agatha's Soul Cauldron, 4 copies, and 4 copies of Training Grounds. And they got 3 copies of Training Grounds up front. It was like when Arena can tell what deck you're trying to do. What Arena likes to do to me is they like to say, hey, that's not how you do it. This is how you do it. I'm kind of surprised that we won the battle against all of those mythic rares. Let's see, swamp, mountain, or forest. We'll go for the swamp to start with. I think that player with all the different Shieldreds and Phyrexian Obliterators misplayed. I think they could have had me. I think they misplayed a couple of times. You're not normally... When Magic puts you up against somebody who just plays Mythic Rare after Mythic Rare after Mythic Rare, that's a sign you're intended to lose that battle. Alright. We can't get rid of it now. I think we pay the price. We pay the 3. Still hurts us, but it's exiled at least, so we don't have to worry about it coming back. Another mythic rare. I'm shocked. Now it's mono black, so they probably have removal, but can't really help that. Oh. Let's see. I guess you take the Tri-Lands? Yeah. Probably makes sense. There is something to be said that maybe I should have Shigeki in here or something, and a way to get these cards back when they mill through Blossoming Tortoise. So I'm toying around with the idea of getting rid of 1 Blossoming Tortoise and having some kind of card that can get creatures themselves back from the graveyard when that's useful to me. But I was focusing on the Battlefield Butcher, not so much on what other creatures I might lose. What is up with discard tonight? I've been going up against... I hadn't been doing a lot of discard, but lately? Okay, they know we have it. Let me get rid of that now. And... let's do this so we have 2 creatures up. If we get the Ozolith out, we could pump these up and they'll have trample. That would be good. But we're kind of running out of ammo already. Of course, mythic rare, Shieldred. Okay. I don't know that it matters anymore what we get. I kind of have everything I need. So, Zephyr? We do need a removal spell. I already used to... No, not... This is not the same... This is not the same player. Are we in some strange mono-black hell with only... where we're going to flood out with only lands for draw and come... Okay, so we beat the mythic rare. And we weren't supposed to. So they put us up against another mythic rare person who's going to know how to do things better. Yeah? Is that what we're doing? Notice the cards that I'm getting are not comparable to the threat. A 1/1 versus a Shieldred. Oh. Everything they need to just completely annihilate me. Down to 1. I mean, we take out the 6/7. We finally got one removal card. 8 lands to their 6. And we're done. No, that was not a good game for me. Arena keeps putting me up against mono black with mythic rares until I lose. I didn't think my deck was that intimidating. Arena really does seem to panic when you get creative and decide to do something out of the ordinary. I'm convinced the AI is ChatGTP or something is nothing to be afraid of. But whatever programming they did on the arena has become sentient, I think. And Arena is scared sometimes of the decks I create. And it's like you get the impression that Arena's like detecting the new deck, entering its queue, and it says, oh no, you don't. You don't to use those cards in combination with each other, and we will teach you to abandon this deck concept. But we already demonstrated how it worked once, so my mission is already done technically. This is just gravy. Four lands. Can't counterspell the vampires. I only have one black, so I'm going to have to wait for Path of Peril. And this, there's no artifact or enchantment that's out here that I can tackle, so I'm not sure why that's always highlighted, but we'll go ahead and get rid of Wedding Announcements now. We could let him create a bunch of 1/1 tokens and then do Path of Peril. But the problem is that +1 when the Wedding Announcements... what do we do? Let's keep Tyvar waiting in the Wings Force later. Does that make sense? It's not the worst thing if they destroy that enchantment. They do have planes. They're looking at it like, yep. Get Lost is a new utility card from Lost Caverns of Ixalan. It is highly favored. I think here we just go... We've already got our mountain source right there, right? So, Swamp Mountain Forest, we need a forest. We need 2 greens. Okay, so Gobi comes out now. Let's see if having the 2 1/1s, if they care about running the Eco Drinkers into them or not, because they can just incubate for 2, so they could commit digital suicide, and then, yeah, they're willing to do that. We'll make that trade. Do they incubate them both now? Looks like they're gonna wait. I get map tokens, but I need a creature to work them by, and we are flooding out. Okay, another artifact. They might have 4 copies of Get Lost. They're not triggering these yet. Oh, they can only cast the vampires. They don't have the black to incubate that yet. They can only get black for summoning the vampires. Alright. Oh, look. We flooded out with land again. Arena? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 lands. And really just 1, 2, 3, 4 spells. 10 lands and 4 spells. Does that seem like a fair draw to you? I got something. I'm not going to use it. It's only one. I can wait for 10 more turns at least. I like this card. I don't think I've used it yet myself. Go. Okay, I'll put this one down. I can get one card draw out of that because I have the artifact. I can do it at instant speed. So if they have something to destroy my artifact, we're still okay. And now we're incubating. Aha! We finally have a target for the removal. I have drawn so much land, I am already almost out of basic lands. It's like having 4 copies of Blossoming Tortoise is completely overkill in this deck with the way... Hello, what happened to the game? Whew. I was going to say, I did the software video, or software download and update and installed it for NVIDIA. So that let me start recording again. And they already have enough mana to cast that enchantment, and I don't have the answer right now. And they've got a Leech Gauntlet there, and I now have a Blossoming Torch that I guess I should have just held on to. Right? Give them time to figure that stuff out. That's only a creature or planeswalker. Alright. Get rid of those. That's what we're saving the end for. What are you holding onto in your hand? Another Virtue of Persistence and Tithing Blade, so 2 more creatures I'd have trouble with. Let's see, a bunch of Virtue of Loyalties, that's going to be a problem. Bloodveil Purveyor is a problem. There's a lot of problems in this deck for me. Ouch. Ouch, ouch, ouch. Pretty much everything is scary. Okay, we got rid of 3 creatures. Right? Edgar Charmed Groom is enough of a game breaker in and of... No! Arena! No way! That's 14 lands! Okay. I'm going to thin out my deck and get more land out. Look, I gained a life. Not a single battlefield butcher. Not that it matters, right? Because they can get rid of the butcher. Get rid of the 3/3. I need another Terra Sunder. I've already got 3 in the graveyard? I don't have enough to do anything. Yeah, I think they're counting my Terra Sunders too. I've had maybe 9 spells around here somewhere, if you count Tyvar, the Planeswalker, underneath the Hideaway. Okay. I mean, what else is there to do? I know I'm giving them ammunition. Here's another one. That's only as a sorcery. I guess I should have activated those, try and pump them up to 4/4s. Then at least I wouldn't be able to use a Virtue of Persistence on them. They can basically kill both of them right now, right? They've got lethal, so... Can I do anything with that? Hey! No, we can't. There we go. Exactly what they need. And we'd be done. They're taking way too long to figure out how to maximize things. Come on. You can do it. I'm not sure how long I should keep this deck. Let me go in and just... I think that was 4 battles already, right? We won't make this too long today. I do so good at implementing all the software updates, and the server still seems to crawl slower and slower every single day. Alright, so this was it. We saw in the one battle that we were able to get the Butcher down, we were able to reduce the activation costs, we were able to do it. I think we're kind of at the mercy of the draw. You know, we started flooding out just too hard, and I don't know of an answer to that. And this deck is kind of built around the idea of what I normally get used to, is I get land starved more often than I get land flooded. So I'm usually, you know, I've got the 4 Blossoming Tortoises right now. I think I would probably take one of those out and maybe just get a card, maybe Shigeki, maybe a different card that can dig back into my graveyard and reuse something that's in the graveyard. And maybe that would be better. I'm uncertain, but we'll leave it there. When we can get left alone long enough to actually get these cards on the field, it's a nice deck. What's weird is that it seems like the enchantments are taking over, but I know if I put in any more spells that take out and target enchantments specifically, then it's just going to put me in a queue against mono red aggro, and there's not really going to be, there's just going to be a bunch of creatures coming at me. So, you know, damned if you do, damned if you don't. And anyway, I think I may tinker around with it a little bit more. I don't know if this is going to be the final deck list, but this is the deck list I will publish. What card would you put in place of a Blossoming Tortoise? Do I have the right idea of reusing something from the graveyard? Just because with the other Blossoming Tortoises and going up against discard spells like the way we are, You know, maybe it's not a bad idea to be able to reach into our graveyard a little bit more than we can with just the lands. Anyway, let me know what you think of the concept anyway. I know the execution's not good in the current meta environment, but again, I believe that more just flooding out with land rather than anything the opponents are doing necessarily. We've got a decent amount of removal in the deck. We've got a decent amount of interaction. And they don't even have necessarily card draw advantage, right? They didn't outdraw us anywhere. We just got a bunch of lands and didn't get what we needed when we needed it. But let me know what you think. Like and subscribe, and we'll do something different next time. Thanks, everybody. Have a good one.